Hi folks, Tom here. So today we're with Tom Clark, who is a local financial advisor in Plymouth. Now I've known Tom for years, really trust the guy with my clients, so it's great to get his input today. So I think Tom, just tell us a bit about yourself really. What do you do, how do you do it, what's life as a financial advisor like?
Well, yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm Tom, been a financial planner, we call ourselves, for almost 5 years now. And I work for Goodman's Financial Planning. So if you don't know where Goodman's are in Plymouth, we're just by the Roundabout pub, opposite the university, or for myself, next to Mr. Watt, which is my favourite sort of joint to pick out at. And I've been there for 5 years. And my previous career was I was in the Royal Marines for 10 years.
Oh, get on. Quite a bit of a difference in career culture then.
Yeah.
What's more cutthroat, the Marines or the financial industry?
Definitely the Marines. Yeah.
With the exams, how did you go about getting them? How did you get them done? What made you think, oh, do you know what, I want to give this a go as a career?
Yeah, so essentially when lads go out on deployment within the Royal Marines and any branch of the military, I suppose, you away for 6 months, you're not spending any money, you're getting paid extra for being away as well. So naturally, when you get back home, you've got quite a bit in the piggy bank. So naturally, as young lads would do, they'll go out and spend it on nice cars, tattoos, a few drinks, fair few drinks. But I was a little bit more boring. I screwed it away. I was fortunate enough to get early onto the property ladder and rent it out. Yeah. Didn't need a roof over my head because I lived on camp and barracks. Yeah. And then guys would come to me and started asking me for essentially financial advice. I didn't realise at the time, given my opinions and sort of what they should do. And that's how I kind of realised actually I really enjoy this, helping the guys, helping out the lads. And then when COVID happened, that was just sort of, I think for everyone, COVID was such a catalyst moment in people's lives. Yeah. Everyone just views the life between pre and post COVID.
That's true.
COVID for me was getting those exams done whilst I was still in the military. And yeah, it lent itself to my sort of skill set.
And you still enjoy it now?
Yeah, and learning every day and meeting new people, and I couldn't ask for a better career change.
Now, Tom, you've been the Marine for 10 years. I mean, that is a fantastic career, and a hell of a lot you would have seen and done. And then you've become a financial planner. Even now, after the 5 years of doing the job since COVID, do you still get moments where you think, do you know what, this is the job I wanted to do? Yeah. I really have found my place.
Yeah, I think so. With comparing it to the Royal Marines and financial planning, it's like chalk and cheese. The highs that I had in the military, that will never get surpassed by highs in financial services or anything. It's just, you can't compare it. Yeah. But from the day-to-day aspect, the daily job satisfaction you get doing what I do as a financial planner is just leaps and bounds ahead of being in the military, believe me. And one of those reasons that springs to my mind is my clients referred their daughter to me. She has terminal cancer, and she's got a very young family, and because of her terminal cancer, she was able to access her teacher's pension because she had less than 12 months to live.
Oh, crikey.
Now, somehow, the teacher's pension scheme held on to her pension for over 6 months of that period, and she couldn't access it. So, with me, I was able to help create her a plan for what time she has left, and obviously for the future when she's no longer with us. And I felt like I did a very good job with it. She was very happy, and the family and the partner was also very happy. But it's when her parents called me out of the blue and said, like, Tom, since she's spoken to you, I have noticeably seen how much she's now relaxed, her anxiety's disappeared.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And that to me was like,
that's life-changing moments that you've had an impact on.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't put a value on that. And doing this job, it isn't about numbers. It's you're working with people at their most vulnerable, and that's a job satisfaction that nothing will ever sort of surpass. So that's something I sort of hold on to a lot.
Definitely. And now I'm an accountant. I know what a financial planner does, but even preparing for this today, I have learned a hell of a lot more about how financial planners can help people and help clients, and they can get a better understanding of their finances. So I think my question for you, Tom, is if I knew absolutely nothing about your job, nothing about the industry, I'd just climbed out from under a rock, how would you describe what you do and
Okay.
what you can do to help people.
Okay, so three words. I'll say openness, collaborative, and transformation. Now, when I say those words, people are like, what the hell are you on about, Tom? What sort of woolly stuff is that? Well,
Yeah.
what I mean by that is the analogy I like to use is my three hats. Okay, in a meeting with a client, I wear 3 hats. Okay, my 3 jobs. So my first hat, or my first job, is what people are more familiar with, and that's the financial advice. And that's me being open-minded. That's the openness, listening to clients, hearing their opinions and respecting their opinions, and there's no such thing as a silly question or silly answer or whatever. And then through that listening, I'm able to then delve into my toolbox, find the right financial product to marry to be suitable for that client's specific circumstances. And that's what traditional advice is, and that's my first job, but it's not my only job. The second hat is being collaborative, and that's the financial planner side of things. That's putting the planner into the advice. Now, what that actually means in real world is essentially trying to find out that client's number. Okay.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, what number does that individual or that family need to be financially independent from their business or their career?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's so many, people come up with all these formulas, times this, times for that to get a number, but it's so bespoke, so individualistic to that person that we need to have a sit down and work through it. Now, what people be a lot of times pleasantly surprised is the number isn't actually as big as people think it could be, or it would be. But that's where you have that plan in place to work it out.
Because I think for me, trying to explain to clients, you should be talking to a financial planner, even if you don't think you're retiring tomorrow.
No.
You should be doing more in your younger years, planning wise, because
time's your friend.
Exactly. And I've been so mortified when I've gone into meetings with clients where they have maybe left it too late to do big changes in their life, and they say to a financial planner like yourself, this is how much I want to live on when I retire.
Yeah.
And when you actually break it down to them how much they need to have, it's a huge difference, isn't it, in what is available to them and what they can do with the time that's left.
So hat number 1, openness, listening to clients, getting that feedback and finding the right tool for that individual. Hat number 2 is being collaborative, working out with that individual to find out their number and creating a financial plan, a roadmap to get to that number. Okay. The third hat, which is I say is the most important one, is the transformation. Okay?
Yeah.
So at the beginning I said, what do you get from working with me? It's openness, collaborative and transformational. Now the transformational hat is the lifestyle planning hat, okay? And that's where, you've got your financial plan, you've got your number, now we need to turn that number into real wealth, okay? It's no good seeing your number on your bank account or on my spreadsheet looking nice and pretty and big. It's just a digit at the end of the day. So that's where we need to work out what is that client's dreams, aspirations, what do they want to do with the family? Is it get their kids through school? Is it to retire early?
Yeah.
Do you spend more time with your wife or husband? And trying to really work out what is it that they want in the future. And they may not necessarily know straight away, and it can take a bit of time to actually work that out. But that's where the lifestyle really comes in, and it's taking that client from their past to today and getting it for their future sort of next 30, 40 years over their retirement.
Because what I found working with you is that you're not looking at immediate gains as such with the financial planning.
No.
You ask questions about people's retirement and what their expectations are, and I've found it fascinating sitting in meetings where people have an aspiration for how they want to live when they retire, but actually understanding earlier in their business life what they need to do to get to that point is so important now, because pensions and property and things, nothing is straightforward anymore. And having someone like you would massively change that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We've talked about how you became a financial planner.
Yeah.
We've talked about what it is that a financial planner does, but what I really want to know is, what benefits will people have from having a financial planner? Why should they have one, fundamentally? Why should people look to you rather than doing it themselves?
Well, I think ultimately, these are big questions to ask. What they're coming us to for. and that's, you need a professional to really articulate it and take you through that journey. Now, what you'd get, I'd hope, is financial peace of mind, financial security, and these are all perfectly doable for anyone, no matter where you sit on the sort of wealth spectrum. It's possible for anyone. These aren't just pipe dreams, but you do need to have a plan in place. You need to be proactive, and that's where speaking with that financial planner is that proactive step.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we all like to think we know what we're doing with money and finance because it's very personal to us. But we've got the benefit, or I've got the benefit of, doing this as my day job and seeing 1,001 different scenarios from other clients where with yourself it's, I can kind of picture exactly where we need to take this. Now, what we don't do is one-off transactional advice, which can actually be worse than no advice.
Right.
Because it can give you a false sense of security.
I see.
So, give an example. If me and you would go hiking out onto Dartmoor, you wouldn't just whip out your map at the beginning of the walk, read it, put it away, and then carry on walking.
That's a good analogy.
You'd get lost, and it's exactly the same with a financial plan. You need to have that ongoing relationship, that continued suitability, to make sure that it's still, you're still on path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, that brings me on to a good question, actually. Your relationship with your clients.
Yeah.
Do they just do that initial meeting with you and then off you trot kind of thing? Or, how does it work with your ongoing relationship with your clients?
Yeah. So, the onboarding process, it's fairly straightforward. It's 3 meetings, like I've already explained. Once we've got that plan in place, then it's going on to the ongoing servicing.
Right.
And that's where I say most of the real value is then added. It's that continued reviewing the suitability, keeping the guys on track, making sure you're going on the right path. Now, what that practically means, we'll always have an open door policy.
Right.
So, for no additional costs, you can have as many meetings with me face to face as you like. If it's weekly, I'd say calm down a bit, please. But yeah, typically, we have a bare minimum of 1 meeting a year,
right.
As a minimum, and it's always face to face. Now, if the client wants it, virtually, then we can do that. But my preference is to, go and see you in face to face.
Why is that? Why do you prefer the face to face over video?
Because what we're giving them is a trust-based relationship. And humans are, as technologies are evidently getting more intrusive with our lives, people are valuing more that face-to-face human interaction. And when you sat in front of someone having those meaningful, deep conversations, they're much more richer than you would do, say, over Zoom or Teams call. Much more richer.
You get a lot more body language, don't you?
Yeah.
90% of relationship building is through body language.
Exactly. So, it's a no-brainer for us, frankly. But then sometimes, if a big event's coming in the client's life, like they're coming up to retirement, we may have several meetings running up to that retirement. We've got lots of things to talk about, get things put into place. Yeah. And then other years, it's just an annual review.
Yeah.
But it's always that open door policy. So if they ever get concerned or got some to chat about, then we can do that. And also behind the scenes, not necessarily with the clients, we're always continuing to review my clients' sort of plans, the cash flow plan, any sort of updates, news, legislation changes. Politicians love to change the rules as we find.
Yeah, we're all panicking about the budget.
Every 6 months there's a new budget going on. Yeah. Panic. And that's and we're we're tuned into that. We know what the rumours are. We can help clients to sort of navigate through that and be proactive with that financial plan.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So for me, obviously, I do introductions for my clients, and I say you need to work with a financial planner because I'm not regulated. There's a lot of things that accountants can't do, and you guys are the experts and far better at it than I ever would be. But I think for me, it's trying to explain to a client how they become a client of a financial planner. So how does it work for you? How does someone become a client?
Yeah, so we take them through the onboarding process. It typically takes 3 meetings, typically.
Okay.
So the very first meeting is the discovery meeting, and that's where they meet us for the first time. It's their chance to interview us, interview me, sort of get to know the company, what we're about, because it's not always clear, you know, oh, I'm here to speak to a financial advisor, what that really entails until you speak with us. It's also an opportunity for us to get to know you, and it's a two-way relationship. It's a trust-based relationship, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, but that's fine. So in the first meeting, I'm asking lots of open questions, trying to really understand basically who they are as a person. So we're all our own main characters in our own story in life, and I want to know, what's their story, and what do they want their future story to be. Okay, and that's through open questionings and getting the facts and figures, the financial facts and figures, written down. And then from there we can create a rough copy of their status quo of a financial plan. So if they didn't do anything, this is what will happen.
Yeah.
Okay. This is your projection for the future if we do nothing. Okay. Now, end of that meeting could be an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours. Hopefully not that long, but it can be quite a few number of hours to have all of those in-depth conversations. So after that meeting, I'll go away and I'll have a think about exactly what you've said, what they've said, and try and create a bespoke sort of plan for their needs, for their objectives, essentially. And then we'll come back for a second meeting, a repositioning meeting, and we go through the cash flow planning again, the cash flow planning tool that we use, and then trial out different scenarios of the financial plan, what we've come up with, and seeing what works for them, and essentially building it live with them, because at the end of the day it's their plan, not mine.
Yeah.
And I feel really important that they feel that I'm sat on their side of the table, not the opposite side of the table dictating.
Yeah.
It's a joint effort. Now, once they've hopefully agree with what we've proposed and suggested, that's where me and my team will go away and formally write out a letter, essentially, detailing exactly what the regulated advice is. All the fees will be formally disclosed in the letter.
And they've not paid anything up to this point? There's no obligation?
No, nothing's been paid.
No.
Free meetings in the onboarding process. And then we come back for a third meeting, and that's where we go through the report page by page, make sure that they're happy. If they want something changed, we can get it changed. And then once they're happy, sign it. And that's when fees are payable from the advice. And the fees will generally be discussed throughout the whole process anyway, but they're just kind of formalised in the letter and then only paid once they've signed the document at the end of the third meeting.
Now, I think the one question that is probably the most important for everyone when they're working with a financial advisor, whether that's the right question or not, is how do the fees work?
No, it's a good question. Well, hopefully, as I've already explained through your other questions, it's a lot more to it than just a financial advice, financial tool in the box. There isn't just this is the fee. Sorry, this is the product. This is the fee. That's not how it works. It's hopefully you've understood now. It's a collaborative. It's a transformational sort of experience with the client. Whereas the fee is dictated, really by the value that we give through that service. Now, how is that practically, realistically actually paid? Well, it's done on a percentage of what we invest and advise on. So that could be pensions, ISAs, trusts, whatever financial product that we're using. We basically take a percentage of the value of that pot as a fee. Okay, and that's taken directly from the investment, so they're not getting invoiced for that, paying out their piggy bank. So what was the other part of the question?
Well, it's just how do the fees work? How are they structured? Because I've always explained to my clients, they always worry about fees. Say, well, unfortunately for the financial planner, if they aren't very good, they're not going to get their commission. So their incentive is to make as much money for you and give you the best advice, because essentially that is what people are in business for, is to make money themselves. And as much as I'm sure you would love to say that everybody is a financial planner because that's what they were born to do, you are a business at the end of the day. You've got to make money, and that's how I view it, is that your incentive is to make the clients money, because the more you make for them, the more you make yourselves as well.
So I think with the financial plan, with the cash flow plan that we use, that's basically, if you picture it as a car, okay, and we're on a journey to their destination, to their objective for financial independence, and the investments form a very important part, but a very specific part of that plan. Okay, now it's just the investments themselves. That's under the hood of the engine of the car, and I don't want to go into all the details on how investments work. I just want to talk about the financial plan and the roadmap. Now, the investments just provide a vehicle to charge that fee. Okay, so that's how, and it's just done as a percentage basis, which is pretty typical of the profession. The other way we can charge fees, because not everyone has a big enough pot to take that fee, is we offer retainers. So this is probably more important for corporate clients, so businesses or younger clients who are still building up capital. We can pay us a retainer, and that's the simplest and easiest way to sort of understand how fees work, and that will all be specific to the client's needs.
And it's all tailored in the meetings.
Yeah, it's all tailored.
It's all understood.
Yeah, it's never like X amount of advice is a set fee. It's literally dependent on their circumstances.
Fantastic.
Yeah, percentage and retainer.
Now, my favourite bit here is the red flag, green flag. Now, you're not obviously going to take on every client in the world, but other people watching this thinking, do you know what, I need to get a financial planner. What red flags would you have for people? They're going in the meeting, they're going to find out if this is the right person to work with. What should they be looking for as a red flag for why you shouldn't work with a financial planner?
Red flag. So I'd say an advisor who's only interested in talking about the money, okay? And if they can promise, if they're saying things like, we can get you 10%, 9%, 8%, whatever it is, if they give you a number, so we can get this as an annualised return in their investments, that's a massive red flag. Okay. Now the reason for that is it's a very deep topic, but I'll try and keep it as high level as possible. Essentially, no one knows what the future holds. Now, that's kind of hard to argue. And we don't know what the future returns will be in the markets. So someone trying to promise you a certain percentage of return, massive red flag.
Okay.
Now the green flag, the flip side to that is literally the opposite. Someone who isn't just talking about the money. Obviously, the part that is important to discuss, but we want to understand who this individual is, what's their story, and what are their aspirations and dreams. Okay. Now that's a much better. That's a green flag. Okay, if they're not interested in the money, they're interested in you. Okay, that's the.
And what about regulation, qualifications? I mean, you've studied for 5 years to get to where you are, and you're fully qualified. Yeah. What do people need to be looking for if they're looking at a website of 5 financial planners? What should they be concerned about? What needs to be on display?
Yeah. So, thing is with exams and all that sort of stuff, they're very good at teaching the technical side, the academic side of financial advice, not planning advice. Now, there's various different examining bodies that you can take. The most common one is the Chartered Insurance Institute, and that's what I've done mine through. It's very technically orientated, but it doesn't touch much on the sort of financial planning, the softer side of things. So you have to do their exams to get the level 4 qualification to provide regulated advice, which I did before I was able to join them. Before I was able to join Goodman's. Since then, I've carried on my studies for the level 6 chartership. And that's obviously goes much more in depth. Now that's always a good sign that someone's a chartered financial planner, because it means they've not just done the bare minimum; they've gone beyond what is necessarily required.
And you are regulated as well, which people need to check, isn't it, on the website?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So on the website, if you're working for, if the advisor is a representative of a firm, of a company, that company will have an FCA number, so you can search the that number on the FCA's website, and it will show you that they're registered and therefore subject to regulations by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Cool. Okay, the starter pack. So for anyone that wants to know more about financial planning or how to become a financial planner, here's a few questions. So what tool or software could you literally not live without?
Well, it's a recent tool we've only just started implementing at Goodman's, and it's called Plord.
Okay.
And it's basically, it looks like a credit card, and it can sit on the back of your phone or just on the desk when you're having your meeting, and it basically just records the meeting, essentially. It's taking minutes of the meeting. And one of our jobs prior to Plord was, at the end of the meeting, the financial planner would basically just write basically what meeting was discussed about, which is very, very time consuming. It'll take hours after every meeting, just writing out what we discussed. Plord does that in minutes. It records it all, writes it in a really, really good summary. Because it's AI, you've got to check it correctly, because it can throw out some quirky answers, but it does the lion's share of the work. It also records me, so audibly as well, and transcribes it as well, which is really useful, because if you then to go away and think, what did the client say about what was the interest rate on the mortgage, or something like when they're getting back from their holiday, or something that you can't remember what they said, jump onto Plord, type in the question, and then the AI will find what was discussed, and it will give you the answer.
Oh, brilliant.
And it's really good from a compliance angle, perfect, because it keeps everything recorded, and just enables us to give a better service to the client.
And is there anybody out there that you follow on social media that you think, my clients should listen to this, or if you want to be a financial planner, this is a good person to listen to?
More money talk, surely.
Oh, great shout out, Tom. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, here's a good one. If someone's starting out in your profession, what's one piece of advice you'd wish you'd had from day one?
Yeah, I think you're not expected to know everything in a meeting, but equally never stop learning. I think that's just people can tell you this as advice, but you only really truly learn it through experience.
Yeah.
And having those meetings early on in your career where you're given too many answers, and from the best intentions possible, but really, if you want to give the best possible service, it's currently I'm not 100% sure on that answer. I'll go away and think about it and come back with a proper answer, and I think the clients appreciate that.
Oh, 100%. And what's something you've learned from your profession that you apply to day?
I'd say tuning out the noise.
Tuning out the noise. That's good.
So what do I mean by tuning out the noise? So, I mean, you can, it's such a simple phrase, you can apply it to almost anything, but if you really understand it the way I do, it can be really impactful and powerful. So the way I use this phrase of tuning out the noise is, it originally stemmed from investment markets, but you can apply it to almost anything in life. But effectively, with tuning out the noise with, say, investing, everyone is addicted. I say everyone. A lot of people in my industry and clients as well are addicted to financial porn. Okay, financial porn is media outlets spouting off, markets at all times high, bubble this, bubble that, or COVID crash, or crash this, and all this, and there's all these sort of dramatic
hysteria.
Yeah, the hysteria, and people come to me panic and say, market's too expensive. I don't want to buy into the market now, or the other way around. And you just need to remember that we don't care what the markets do today. Literally, don't give a monkeys what happens. Don't give a monkeys what happens in a couple of years. Don't give a monkeys what happens in 5 years. Literally, I don't care, because the reason why we invest our money ultimately is for the long term. Okay, it's protecting that money from the impact of inflation. Ultimately, you're deferring your capital, your money today, your spending power today, for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
And that means you need to protect it against inflation, because that's the real risk that will impact your financial independence in the future. So I don't give a monkeys about what the markets are doing at the moment.
I mean, that's one of my pet hates is I'll take on a new client and I'll see that they've got 30, 40,000 in the bank, and I say, what are you doing with it? Well, I'm just saving it for a rainy day. Well, yeah, but you could be doing a lot more with that, and you need to go and speak to someone that can help you, because earning 0.00001%, you're losing money with inflation, essentially.
Yeah.
It's not worth the same today as it will be in 5 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my frustration.
Yeah.
So we've talked about personal clients.
Yeah.
Do you do corporate? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's something that I specialise in at Goodman's personally. And it's all kind of stemmed from my belief of shrinking that advice gap. I mentioned it earlier in our chat about the cost of delivering financial plan is a lot of the time too expensive for the average person on the street, which is not fair. It's not right. So one way where we can help sort of bridge that gap is working with the employers. Okay. Now one of the main ways we can really help companies and businesses is looking at their workplace pension schemes. For example, it's nothing. Nest is a quite a common default option. Tick in the box. Well, we need auto enrolment. We need to get a pension that qualifies under the auto enrolment rules. Nest ticks the bill. We'll go with Nest. That's fine. But if you're a forward-thinking company wanting to attract talent, I would as well personally. If a company I'm looking to work with has a Nest pension scheme, I'm like, well, can you not deal a bit better?
That's
than
the
that?
default.
That's
isn't
the
it?
default, yeah. And as we've discussed, someone's biggest asset is their salary as an employee, by far the biggest asset, and their time, their life ahead of them. So making sure that you've optimised, their workplace pension, their treasure chest, is really, really important for the employees. But I understand that the employees may not necessarily understand the true benefits of a workplace pension scheme. I get that. So not only would I review the workplace pension scheme, make it cost effective, value for money for the company, but also I can deliver educational seminars to the staff as a company wide, explain to them the benefits of the workplace pension scheme that the company offers.
So if I came to you tomorrow, and I said I've got a company with 20 employees, workplace pension was Nest. I didn't bother looking at it at the time. I knew I had to do it.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Yeah. So if it's Nest or any other pension, it doesn't matter what pension it is. I'll ask a few questions from the employer, just so I can get a little bit more bespoke to their situation. And I'll create a slide deck. Don't want it to be a death by PowerPoint.
No grey man.
No grey men, no grey suits involved, absolutely not. But hopefully it will be an engaging conversation, talk from myself, chatting to the whole team as a oneer, explain all the virtues and the benefits that they may not necessarily understand, and I can help them with that. Following on from that, so we can review the workplace pension schemes. I can deliver educational seminars. Sort of the ongoing support has always been really important to me, and we can do that through something called pension clinics. So a lot of the time people, finance is very personal to people, and the pension is very personal. They don't want to open up in an open format environment. I get that. So I also offer pension clinics. So it's a one-to-one meeting with that employee, where they can talk to me about their pensions. You'll be amazed, or shocked rather, how little people understand what goes on with their pensions. People are like, am I saving enough for retirement? Some people don't even know what happens to some people think their money just sits in a cash account in a pension. And these questions, really good questions they can ask me, and I can help them sort of get the most out of it.
That's a great benefit for the staff of a company that's got that offering, isn't it? I mean, that's...
And we would charge for this through the employer, but I'd make sure it works for the employer and they see value for money, and we can do that through various means. So flexible.
Now AI, Tom, it's everywhere. We've all seen it. Everyone thinks AI is going to solve everybody's problems. But how do you think AI is affecting your profession, your industry?
Yeah, so obviously AI is everywhere now. I feel like every new business has the word AI in it. It's always turned into a sort of a buzzword. But no, it just has its uses, and we're already using it now. I think everyone's pretty much using it, to be frank. But what it is doing well in the financial planning profession is we're very admin intensive behind the scenes, what the clients never see. We're very admin intensive. And that's where I can kind of step in and streamline that process a lot more. And hopefully, I'll bring down the cost of delivering advice, which is what I want ultimately, to provide wider services to the wider public.
And how do you think AI is going to change your industry as we get more development with AI every single day? Broadly speaking, do you think AI is going to replace financial planners?
So I think it won't. I guarantee it won't. Thing with financial planning, not necessarily financial advice, but financial planning, where you're having that trust-based relationship. People value people, and I think AI will actually draw people together more. Whereas with social media and other technologies, it's kind of brought people apart and kept it more superficial level. I think AI will help us as a society value what it truly means to be human.
Yeah.
And actually bring us together more. And people value having that face-to-face human relationship and that trust-based relationship. So I have no qualms about that. I think where, at the moment, for us, AI is helping us in the sort of back office side, but that's one thing. But if it can actually help us deliver financial planning, financial advice, that's a game changer. And I think, for example, where that could work is, we do a lot of cash flow planning, so it's lots of pretty charts, correct forecasting the financial plan that we're advising on. And I think it'd be awesome if, say, AI could, learn all of the thousands and thousands of rules and regulations that governs taxes, investments, risks, etc., etc. I've got to, as a human, interpret all of that data in the cash flow plan and then apply it to those rules, that's why it's taken me 5 years to get through all these exams. But if the AI could somehow create almost like a traffic light system where it's saying, like, Tom, you need to think about this, this and this with this individual's financial plan, and then I can sort of use that to guide me through what will be best. And then through, without getting too technical, with advanced APIs, you can link between someone's real investments and pensions with their financial plan, with their cash flow plan. So it almost turns it into almost a live organism. Yeah. And you get to a point where you could then deliver and implement advice in that meeting with the client. Wow. And that will be, game changing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, financial advisors, I like to work with financial planners and financial advisors, and I think it's really important that my clients have someone like you on board, that we can talk together. We be in meetings, and I'll talk about the tax side, you talk about the financial planning. Yeah. But what other professions do you work with?
Solicitors, definitely.
Okay.
So with professionals, you've got, like you mentioned, accountants, financial planners, solicitors. That's like the holy trinity of sort of finance, basically. Yeah. I would love it if we had a firm where you had like all three working together, almost like a all one house format. Yeah. But we're not there yet. But we're open to working if clients have their own accountants or their own solicitors. We regularly invite them over into the client's meeting with us, so they're part of that discussion. And that's how we're always quite collaborative with other professionals.
Now, if a film was made about your profession, which actor would play your role?
Which actor would play my role? Well, keeping it specific to myself, I'd say from a Royal Marine transition into finance, I think the early Arnold Schwarzenegger,
the one that couldn't talk any English.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. A bit robotic, a bit awkward in his mannerisms. I think he could play me quite well, but hopefully now I think a Tom Hanks could play me quite well with his bit wiser and slightly more podgy.
That's the desk job, isn't it?
That's the desk job, yeah.
And if you could work with just one person for the day, who would it be and why?
From a personal perspective, I'd say someone who's a young person where I can help them develop them financially, and then watch them throughout their life sort of benefit from that advice and make great use of that with their family once they're financially independent. I think seeing that growth is something really I'd get a lot of satisfaction from.
And then if you could work with one person, it could be anybody, any person in the world, who would it be and why?
So I touched on them previously on sort of books I like to read, but Morgan Housel, again, such an interesting character. We're too, in our industry, we're always very good at the technical side, which is quite inhumane almost, not inhumane, but not very personable. But Morgan Housel has such great depth and insights in terms of the psychology of money and how it affects people's short-term decision making and long-term decision making with their money. And working with someone like that would be incredible.
Definitely. Right, Tom, quick 5 questions. Here we go. Favourite way to eat eggs?
Scrambled eggs. I have scrambled eggs every day for breakfast.
Favourite pizza toppings?
Cheese, and cheese.
Last film you watched?
I'd say, I can't even remember what I watched. I think I fell asleep on it last night. A Netflix show. It was a Netflix show.
The last artist or song you listened to?
It was some version of some rock music that I can't recall what it is.
Guilty pleasure film?
Anything Disney. Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Guilty pleasure music?
Taylor Swift, unfortunately. I think Emily, my wife, she's been playing the new album relentlessly for last week, but it is kind of good.
If you weren't in your current profession, what would you want to do now?
I'd be a firefighter. I have respect for those guys.
What did you want to do as a kid?
I wanted to be an archaeologist. I love history. I'm digging around in dirt.
What did you want to, profession that frustrates you the most?
Politicians. Definitely.
Care to elaborate?
No way.
And what profession would you like to next see on More Money Talks?
I'd like to see a sort of local business legend, maybe. It doesn't have to be a legend, just someone, a business person, and their sort of view or outlook on operating a business in Plymouth, the pros and the cons, and what's their sort of outlook for SMEs in Plymouth operating there.
I'm sure we can find one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.